At this point, I don't even think I can call this channel internet nonsense anymore. There is far too much that's happening in the real world too. Hey there everyone, and welcome back to a little bit more internet nonsense. Today, however, it's a little bit of a scary tale. There's been a lot of crap that's been happening lately IRL. United Airlines has been working on some new customer service, hashtag Save Dina Ali was going around Twitter, World War III might be starting, and there's just been so much random stuff that it's too much for me to talk about for one video a week. But there was one story that really hit a little bit too close to home today, and that's what I'm going to be talking about. For today, we're going to be talking about Russia. I was seriously hoping that this was a god-awful April Fool's joke, just like a lot of people thought it was at first. Sadly, it really doesn't look like it is. For those of you who have absolutely no idea what's going on, I really envy you. I'm not kidding, you're lucky that you don't need to worry about these kinds of things. In early March, LGBT activists at gayrussia.ru wanted to join in on the celebration that was Pride parades. It's a pretty common thing over here in the West, and I'm sure sometimes we forget that there are places where these kinds of things just don't get to happen. On about the 9th, Vladimir Klimov sent a notice for a public event in the form of a procession, saying that it was estimated about 300 people were going to join in. This was their idea of just having a small march to give LGBT people one simple moment to show who they were and to let them be themselves. Of course, this was quickly shot down, and sadly, this may have even been a major trigger point for what's going on right now. When the media in Russia got a hold of what the LGBT community was trying to do, things got a lot worse. Mass protests ensued and speakers were incredibly aggressive. There were varying degrees of creative videos and calls for the killing of people with different sexual orientations. This is the mindset of the people from the early 1900s, and it's incredibly hard to believe that it's happening in current year. Around this time, the order came down for preventive cleaning, and that's when it really hit the fan. This was actually the first article I could find on the subject. As you can see, the date is April 1st. This is why people thought it was just a horrible joke, and that's even what the government was trying to play it off as. The woman who first broke this story, Elena Milashina, is now in hiding because of death threats. As of right now, this is what we know. At least 100 men have been captured and placed into these camps in the town of Argun. There's probably been a lot more, but these are just the numbers that we know of right now. They're being kept in rooms holding about 30 to 40 of them each. Some of these people are well-known local television personalities and even religious figures. At least 3 people have died. Some people started to hear about this, and they obviously got upset. They demanded answers from Ramzan Kadyrov, the leader of Chechnya. The information given through a spokesman, Alvi Kadyrov, was that you cannot arrest or repress people who just don't exist in the Republic. Their excuse isn't that it's not happening, it's that it can't be happening because no Chechen could possibly be gay. That's absolutely disgusting. But sadly, this guy almost has a point. He went on to say that if such people existed in Chechnya, law enforcement would not have to worry about them, as their own relatives would have sent them to where they could never return. Now, you can look at that any way you want, but many people are rightly taking this as they would be killed by their own families. Chechen people believe in honor killings. They believe that the suspicion of being gay is a tarnish on the family's good name, and they must cleanse you from their bloodline in order to fix it. These people have a belief system that's hundreds, if not thousands of years old, and it's absolutely terrifying for modern-day society. There have been some leaks about what happens inside these camps. There has even been people that have managed to escape. The Russian LGBT network has said that it's set up a hotline for people seeking help. The network claims to have received reports of abuses and torture inside the prison through the hotline. Abuses allegedly included men being taken outside and beaten several times a day, having their hands electrocuted, and being forced to sit on bottles, Novaya Gazeta reported. One of those who escaped told Novaya Gazeta that the prisoners were beaten to force them to reveal other members of the gay community. Another prisoner who fled said that before being incarcerated in one of the camps, he had been forced to pay bribes to Chechen police in the amount of thousands of rubles every month in order to survive. These people are quite literally having to pay for their lives, to pay for their own safety. Who are you going to go to when the police are against you? How will you stay safe in the world when you can't get help from literally anyone? Chechnya is an incredibly homophobic and intolerant place, and if you don't conform to exactly what they believe in, then you're no good to them. There are even some personal accounts that are coming out of what exactly is going on. A young man from Grozny who's gay. A few months ago, he moved to a Russian city. He wanted to reside there, but did not manage to get a job and was going to return to Chechnya in the middle of March. He tried to reach his friend back in Chechnya, but failed. Within a week, his friend contacted him and told him that he had just been released. He was detained by some security officials on the suspicion of homosexuality. In order to get the confession, they beat him with a hose and tortured him with electricity. He reported that about 30 people were locked in the same room together with him. According to him, security officials themselves stated that the order came from the leaders of the republic. The detained were forced to share the contacts of other gay men. The more the person informed, the longer he was detained. Another one person who contacted the network reported that his acquaintance was also detained on the suspicion of homosexuality. Messages in the social network Vyankatke were the cause. People in the Tarik uniform put a young man in a car and took him to an unknown location. Family was not informed about the reasons of his detention. The young man was detained and tortured for several days. The relatives managed to identify the place of detention. The father was told that his son would be publicly shamed on TV and then released. The young man was indeed released, but his conditions are unknown. His whereabouts are unknown. But there is information that he never left Chechnya. Sadly, with the Chechen people believing in honor killings and their own social standing, that last young man was probably killed, especially if he was publicly shamed. Their code of honor implies moral and ethical behavior, generosity, and the will to safeguard the honor of women. To them, being gay, or even thought to be gay, is not moral. What's not surprising is that the area's religion is Sunni Muslim, with every village having a main square for public gatherings dominated by a mosque. But what is genuinely surprising is that Chechnya has one of the youngest populations in the Russian Federation. You think of young people as being incredibly liberal, but it's not the case here. Luckily, some word has gotten out, and certain things have started to get into motion. At the time of writing this script, there have already been protests outside of the Russian embassy in the UK. Hundreds of people lined up demanding that things be changed. There's a change.org petition to try to stop this as well, and I'll leave the link in the description for anyone who would like to add their name to it. As of writing this script, it needs less than 7,500 signatures to reach its goal of 150,000. I think this needs to be pushed a lot more. Please share it as much as you can.